It is time to expand minds through movies, TV, sports, and flicks. It is time to boldly go where no podcast has gone before. It is time for the Captain Talks Flicks.
The Captain Talk Flicks.
Welcome to the Captain Talks Flicks podcast. I'm your host, Captain Cortez, aka Mr. Love, and this is where we talk flicks. And ladies and gentlemen, this past week, I went back to the section with the number 31. And when I say that, if you know, you know. If not, you're about to find out. Yeah, so I went there, and I'm going to get into that first couple things. I want to give a big shout out to North Carolina. Got some place North Carolina this past week. Gracias, gratitude, Toraba. In North Carolina, I've known a lot of people that have traveled to your land and took vacations there. There's a lot of good cities, places in North Carolina to take a vacation. I was talking with Renee LA, and we talked about maybe someday we'll take a vacation there. She told me all about it. She's very nice. So maybe I will. Maybe I'll see you guys there sooner or later. I don't know. So yeah, appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening. And additionally, this episode is brought to you by the song called Let's Get Messy by me, the Captain Cortez. It's me rapping my unique style over hip-hop synthy beats. And inspired by the Section 31. If you know, you know. So if you want to hear Let's Get Messy, I'll put the link below. Check it out. Now, let's get on the podcast. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I went back to the Section 31. So I did a podcast about this when it first came out. And so I haven't listened to it to know what I even said about it. So if I repeat some of those things, I apologize if you already heard it. So I just saw it again. I'm going to give a new commentary about it. Now, first of all, the week I saw Section 31, I did an immense amount of work. I was emotionally, mentally, physically very fatigued. And I think it was a Friday night, Saturday night, I remember what day it was. Me and Renee LA just needed a rest. So we went ahead and sat down, had popcorn. We watched the movie together. So my initial screening, I wasn't in the best mentality to really look deeply into it. Of course, I saw it, I enjoyed it. And the first time I podcast, I'm sure it's great. I've not heard it, I'll have to listen back. But I'm sure I did a good job then. But now, after viewing it a second time in the future, though further away from removed from the time, I was a little worn out, a little tired, emotional, whatever, and just not fully in the moment like I should have been. And also give some time to distance from it to see it a second time. I'm going to say the movie's magnificent. But Captain, a lot of the reviews online said this is not Trek. Okay, so before I get into the actual movie itself, let me just say this about the state of Trek itself. Now, currently, I know that a lot of the shows we've been watching the last few years are coming to a close. They're ending. The era of the Alex Kurtzman or the CBS All Access or the Discovery era is coming to an end, it appears. I mean, that's what it appears like. So it seems to be. It seems that the next project coming after these shows is going to be a reboot. So that's what I'm hearing. Now, things can change because the things going on in the business world are always fluid and changing, and things are always open to change. But as of this recording right now, it is said that there's going to be a reboot with none of the characters that you know that I know is all brand new characters, brand new story. That's what they're talking about. And this may be the case. And, whatever comes, whatever we have, we're going to watch, of course. Now, that being said, the current iteration of Trek, since 2017, I live in Discovery Center, or 16, whatever that was, to now, has been different than the 90s version. And the 90s versions have been different than the 60 version, right? There've been different eras, different ways of doing it, different visuals, different storytelling slightly. And as time goes by, a lot of our fellow Trekkers say, no, it's not real Trek, or I don't like this Trek, or it's not, I'm not into it, or whatever, right? Because storytelling does change over time and evolve, right? So yes, I've talked about this many times in the podcast. It's not just Star Trek, it's everything. Star Wars, Doctor Who, Marvel, you name it, they all go through it. If a franchise is around long enough, they're going to have to change the ways of doing things because times change, technology changes, everything changes. And so this is part of having a franchise that goes on a long time. And people in the know that think they know this. And they either accept it or don't. A lot of times you can't go back home again, as I said. And sometimes with Trek, it's hard to go precisely back home again. It is, but it's not. It's different. Anyways, yes. So that's kind of known from a lot of people. So that being said, a lot of people feel currently that maybe some of the Trek is not true to their Roddenberry vision. More like, Next Generation is the one that's always talked about. I think that the powerfulness of Next Generation is the fact that it really had a lot of social commentary on society through it, right? A lot of deep thinking, deep thoughts, that make you think and ponder, the reality that we live in. These human stories, just ponder many things. And I think that was the strength of that particular show. And all the other ones came nice, even Trek from the 60s. And people seem to think that the new modern versions doesn't do that, which I do disagree with 100%. Now, have they maybe lightened that up a little bit or done that differently? Yes. But the core of the storytelling with social commentary in it through sci-fi is still there, in my opinion. And I've said a lot of good episodes and shows that were in the new iteration of it that shows that, in my opinion. In fact, I said that a couple Discovery episodes were some of the best Star Trek episodes ever made. And I still agree with that. And so there's been a lot of good stuff done through the cartoon, through Strange New Worlds, through Discovery, in my opinion. Okay, but not a lot of people agree with that. And that's fine, nobody has to. As far as going forward, I feel the path going forward is that you're not going to get all the philosophy and the thought-provoking Trek that you might have gotten back in the day. It just seems the general trend of society in general. That being said, I heard a podcast earlier today, actually, that talks about the author Graham Greene, I believe his name is. And this gentleman did like thrillers and spy books back in the day. And it said that this gentleman, the way he wrote and the way he released books, that he do something like action-y, fun, popcorn-y type books that kind of lights. But he also, on the other hand, did books that were super thought-provoking and really in-depth spy stuff, right? So to bring it to modern day, we'll say we got a Mission Impossible, which is great, I love it, versus like the Bureau. Get the Bureau, which is super heavy, deep, thought-provoking, and while Mission Impossible it's more popcorn-y fun, action-oriented, right? So he was doing both these versions of the spy genre. Now, what I had said initially is that for Trek to grow and expand, they will have to dabble and go to different places, in my opinion, and do different types of storytelling, different characters, different stories, whatever, and this is necessary. And I feel that if they follow that method that Graham Greene did when he was writing his books, that of course you do some fun stuff, but you do some serious stuff as well. And just a nice blend of it, right? But they also say in the world of like finance and just the world in general, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So you can have different styles and different versions of what you got, or different assets, different investments to kind of strengthen your brand or your foundation, whatever. So if Trek goes that route, and they of course they got the philosophical, thought-provoking, they got the fun, silly cartoons, they got the action movies like Tom Cruise or whatever. Like if they do this blend, I feel it can be successful, in my opinion. You may think I'm full of crap, but that's fine. And now I'm gonna get to Section 31. Now, based on what I just told you, Section 31, if you look at it from that perspective, which I did today, I sat back, no expectations, just to see what it is I haven't seen in a while. I thought as a movie set in a Trek universe that weren't based on some of the main characters, like maybe one and they built a whole cast around it wasn't that bad. It reminded me of like Fast and Furious, Mission Impossible, Jurassic Park, in that style of storytelling. And personally, it was nice. Sometimes you just want to turn your brain off and not have to think as much and just kind of chill and vibe out, and this is good for that. That being said, there were still some gems in this storytelling. So this, to me, is a spy story. Now, as I saw the movie again, there was little gems of spy thoughts or ideas, beliefs. Now, in this particular movie, there's some lines where they refer to some of these Section 31 agents as, sociopaths, okay? So sociopaths. And it's kind of well known currently, at least a lot of the community in the spy realm do tend to think that in order to do that job of the kind of things they have to do, some of, not all, but some have to do, that you kind of have to tend to be a little sociopathic. And this is also in the business world, right? And so they talk about this in the movie where they're saying like, you could be sociopathic but not uncontrollable, because they don't want someone that's totally uncontrollable, so unstable. They need a sociopath tendencies that can be controlled. Like there's a scene with Giorgio that says that you only want me because I'm a controllable sociopath or something like that. And in some of the modern spy agency experts, they do say that this is kind of necessary in some of the positions in these spy organizations. So there's a little bit of that in the movie. And there's also a line that we're like, Cap or Mary Hardwick, like me, Captain. Anyways, they say that maybe he's trying to make up for something that was, wrong in the past for him, right? Some of that he just was trying to make amends for these things. Because in that space, in that realm, at least what they're doing, these are guys that connect guys on the floor doing the missions. A lot of them do bend rules and dabble in the gray area. And this has been true to it going way back since it was in Deep Space Nine, because it's modeled after modern intelligence agencies. And unfortunately, in some of the modern intelligence agencies, things do get a little bit gray. It's not the cleanest thing sometimes. And if you do the history globally and look at the different intelligence organizations around the world, there's particular stories or things that happen that do kind of show that. And sometimes in that world, to accomplish things that you accomplished, it does get a little bit messy. To quote Giorgio in the show, he's like, let's get messy. Sometimes it's required, and it can be ugly. And a certain type of individual has to navigate that, and these band of sociopaths might be the guys to do it. And this kind of mirrors the real world. So I would say, this to me is maybe the first real spy movie that Trek has done. They've done episodes, but this is it. And it's done in the vein of like a Mission Impossible style. And so there's also other spy films like Black Bag, which is one of my favorite spy movies of all time, which Trek didn't do that. They didn't do it like that. They could have. I mean, Trek has a storytelling capability to do it like that, but they did not. They did it in Mission Impossible fashion, which is okay. As a spy fan, I'll go either way, whatever you got. It's just like I said in the beginning, Graham Greene with the books. I got the action stuff, I got the serious, deep thinking. Either way, I like them both. I welcome them both. Sometimes you gotta turn your mind off, sometimes you gotta go deep. But they still did add some of that spy flair in this show. And even the designs of the coded transmissions and the intro, very spy-esque. And I think maybe some of the Trekkers didn't really get that or didn't understand that, because they say it right in the show, like right in the movie. This is not Starfleet. This is you're entering chaos in the world they play in, like in the real world. A lot of times they don't send, the armies. They don't send like the police, or they send these guys because these guys do things that these other guys really won't do, can't do, or choose not to do. And they can't get a little messy, to quote Georgia. But this movie, I feel, does a good job. It'd be interesting to know what some of these, these spy fans would think about this movie in general. I don't think I've seen anybody talk about it in that world that I kind of look at and engage in sometimes. And maybe they don't even see it. Maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't see it. I don't know. I should maybe share it in this group or so. I don't know. But to me, one that likes both Trek and that, I feel it does a job. And on the second viewing, it's powerful. And also too, there's a love story in there as well. And you get to see the origin of Giorgio. And if you've seen Giorgio in your Discovery arc, you understand why she was the way she was. And she kind of gets some closure and redemption for that, right? And because she at one point in time was a horrible human. And when they opened it up in the beginning, you see why that is. I mean, she made some horrible choices, but she did love at one time. In the end, she loved again. I think you never truly lose that love when you love someone deeply like that. And I know this very well. And so like seeing it again, I teared up a couple times because of seeing like, we are two and now we are one. Like, I know this feeling 100%. And so I did tear up at those scenes. And a lot of the spy shows, movies, is built around love. A lot of times these characters in the spy shows, movies, are making choices because they fell in love with something they weren't supposed to, or something they were supposed to. It's in fact, in general, movies are just doing things out of love to protect their family, protect their loved one, or whatever. So anyways, second go around, Section 31 to me is great. That was phenomenal. I'm gonna go check the ratings. Maybe the ratings are up now. Things change. One last thing to say, like, when Deep Space Nine first came out and Enterprise came out, and if you were older, this is true. I'm not making this up. They weren't well received when they first came out. People said, this is not real Trek. A lot of people did say that. And if you're old enough, this is true. Okay, but as time passed, people love these shows now. I know Deep Space Nine is super appreciated, loved now. It took a while for people to catch up. Same with Enterprise. People love this and that. But when it first came out, the 90s, 2000s, people were saying it. And it's true. If you're my age or older, it's facts. And so we see these shows from the Discovery era, and some people are talking bad about them. Like I've said this before many times. I just feel sometimes the writing is done on such a level that it sometimes takes you time to catch up. I feel this is very true. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, Trek is not done. Trek is still powerful. It never went anywhere. And no matter what comes next, they reboot it. It doesn't matter. You cannot hold it down because good ideas will not be stopped. One additional thing that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, but I'm going to talk about it anyway, is that in the world as time passes, if your idea, your IP, your thoughts are good enough, they will outlast eternity, right? Trek has been here since 1960s. It's still here because it's a good idea and people like it. They like the idea of it. They like the things that are presented. They love the characters because if they're not, they would not be here. There's a lot of shows and IPs that are not here no more. You know it's true. Gotta respect it for that, even if you're not a Trek fan. Okay, I don't watch Doctor Who. I've seen it a couple times. It's cool. I'm not knocking it, but I respect it's still here. It's not my thing. I prefer Trek personally, but I respect it's been here around longer than even Star Trek, even Star Wars. These are still here because the ideas presented them are very universal. People love them. If they weren't, they would be here no more. And they still are because they're great. So anyways, visit Section 31 again. Talk about the state of Trek. Anyways, it's hot here. Might go to the beach again this week. I went to the beach a couple weeks ago. It's been howling, chilling. Might go there again. See what happens. But anyways, go watch Star Trek. If you haven't seen any Star Trek, go watch it. I promise you like something, everything. You'll like Trek. It's great. Appreciate you visiting. Thank you very much. And until next time, live long and prosper. Spock. Till next time, it's Captain Peace.
The Captain Talks Flicks.